Yo, what's up? This is Jay Dennis, and we're back with another Ranked and Reviewed. And the reason that was so guttural is because today we are doing Dethklok, Metalocalypse. Dethklok, the band from the show Metalocalypse from Adult Swim, created by Brendan Small, the music. It's, The Ranked and Reviewed is mostly about the music, not about the TV show, but I did watch the entire show, the entire series. I fucking love that show so much. Love the characters, of course, the band members. I used to be way better at imitating Nathan Explosion. Squiska, Squigilf, however you say his dildo's name. And then, of course, there's Toki Wartooth, who can give himself a great blowjob. Then there's Pickles. Pickle the drummer. It's called a grocery store, you jacket. He's from Wisconsin. It's called a grocery store, you douchebags. And then, of course, you got fucking Murderface, who's just taking it easy. Blammo. All right, I'm going to spare you guys that. I used to be way better at it. Yay, my Civil War shoes. But yeah, they got a whopping trilogy of albums, and I've generally been familiar with them. I listened to the first one quite a bit when I was in high school. Like I said, I've watched the entire show, and I just want to go through these 3 Death albums. There are Dethalbums 1, 2, and 3, released from 2007 up until 2012. I think the show's been off the air since 2013, and they've hinted at maybe doing something here soon, like doing a movie that's supposed to actually finish the series off, which would be great. I'd love to watch that. But at any rate, if today's Ranked and Reviewed were more about the TV show, I might rank it a little bit differently. But again, I'm mostly looking at the music, but it'd be hard to not factor in the TV show a little bit. So let's go ahead and get into it. The spread between the albums, all 3 of them, is my least favorite got an 8.11 out of 10, which means it's still a great album. I fucking love the genre of death metal, melodic death metal. And then number 2 and number 1 were roughly tied, but upon re-listening to one of them, I realized it's slightly better. And then, of course, I'll give you my top 10, which I should be able to do all of this in one clip because it's just 3 fucking albums. 3 fucking brutal albums. So, my least favorite death album from them, but I still enjoy it. By the way, all 3 of them are the same length. They're all roughly 52 minutes long, so very consistent. My least favorite, though, is their first one. Now, if you've only watched the first, 2 seasons of Metalocalypse, or you didn't really get super into the show, these are the songs you're going to know the most. These are the songs that have the most comedy behind them, and in my opinion, it was Brendan Small at his most, even though he still sounds fucking incredible playing in C standard and writing great death metal music. The fucking tone of those crank amps and those Gibson Explorers, and the bass tone is nasty too, and so is the drumming. Just the riffs and the solos just were not as fleshed out on this album, and neither was Nathan Explosion's voice. I think, over time it just started to get better. But the first album, of course, is the funniest. You got Fan Song, Blood Recuted, Birthday, Death Day, Briefcase Full of Guts. Just with regards to the funnier songs, just opening with Mermaid. That was me doing the pinch harmonics, but with a guttural. I think that's what it is. Death Album just doesn't open on the strongest note. Mermaider's, of course, a funny song, but it's just not one of Dethklok's best songs. And then this album might actually have my least favorite Dethklok song, Go Into the Water. And then Hatred Copter. I'm actually not a big fan of that song. But that song's got pickles in it. It's yeah, it's... You know what? I'm going to save it for the end. I'm not going to say that part yet. But, songs like Awaken, Blood Recued, of course, are great. Goes Forth and Die is pretty good. But Fan Song is one of the best songs on the album. I just love that riff. I love the solo. I love the episode associated with it. Thunder Horse, of course, is the best song on the album. It's just a freaking guitar masterpiece. very accessible, very intermediate / advanced if you're trying to get into like sweep picking and stuff. It's just a great, well-written song. Birthday Death Day is another catchy, fun, awesome song. And of course, the episode behind that's awesome. And then my other favorite song, which is a sleeper, is Face Fisted. Watch the YouTube video Bat Metal. It's just where they like put Dethklok music to an animated Batman cartoon, but it's like custom. It's different. It's actually pretty fun. I love the riffs in Face Fisted. So all in all, Dethalbums, like 15 songs. Half of them are just kind of skippable, but they're fun if you know the episode associated with them. But if you're just listening to the album from front to back, it's like listening to a soundtrack instead of like an actual fleshed out. The songs, if you listen to the parts that are just featured on the episodes, it sounds great. But if you listen to the full song, it just doesn't sound as fleshed out as what you're going to hear on the next releases. So at the number 3 spot, Dethalbum number 1. I still enjoy it, but I just think they got better over time. Number 2, second best album, right in the middle, is their second album, Dethalbum II, which I did listen to quite a bit when it came out. But over the years, it took me a while to actually like really appreciate the back half of the album. But the opening front half basically is what I always knew the most. This album features their best songs, in my opinion, but the consistency of the album, just doesn't quite match up to the number 1 spot. But The Gears and Burn the Earth are excellent Dethklok songs. This is where the melodies and the guitar solos and like the riffs just become more hard hitting, and then Nathan's voice just sounds even more brutal. Laser Cannon Death Sentence, which is funny as shit. Die. That is a great episode. The middle of the album, from like Blackfire Upon Us, Death Support, Cyborg Slayers, I Tamper with the Evidence, and Mermaider 2 was better than Mermaider 1 in my opinion. That middle part of the album is just kind of great. Nothing really memorable though. The back half of the album, aside from Symmetry, but you got Comet Song and Volcano, which are 2 solid tracks that really cap the album off. So I think Dethalbum 2, 12 tracks, it just sounds more complete, sounds more consistent, and it just opens on such a solid note, and it features their best songs. But it's just missing that consistency that the number 1 album has. But and then of course the episodes associated with this one, you just think of the episodes where they're like recording underwater, fucking polluting the earth, burning the earth, and just the music videos and everything associated with the songs on this album. Dethalbum 2 I thought would be their best, but upon re-listening to the number 1 album, I realized that number 1 is just marginally better, and that is Dethalbum III. So basically, Dethklok got better with each release, in my opinion. As powerful as the opening is of Dethalbum, Dethalbum III kind of comes out swinging a little bit harder. It doesn't have high-octane tracks like The Gears or Burn the Earth, but the consistency of the album, less weak tracks, definitely helps it. But I Ejaculate Fire and Crush the Industry, just very memorable riffs, very memorable low-end guitar melodies on there. This album got a little bit better with each listen, so it was a bit of a grower, but it's got like the crushing development that the second album has, but it just sounds a little bit more evil and tight in the right areas. Like Andromeda and Starved and Impeach God just has some pretty brutal riffs, but my favorite song on the album is Kill Stardo Abominate. I just love the blast beats. I love the tremolo picking. I love just like the opening like 30 seconds. It's like the heaviest fucking Dethklok song ever written. I love Kill Stardo Abominate. And then it kind of just slows down with like that tribal drumming that really just makes it a dynamic and punchy song. Like just all the triplets, all the, like, again, blast beats. It's just a heavy fucking song. Sky Hunter is an epic song with an awesome hook and melody. It just sounds like there are, because it's a similar tuning, there are like some songs that sound like fucking like Arch Enemy, or maybe even like a little Black Dahlia Murder-esque. So I think Dethalbum III is definitely their most mature album. Rejoin's also a very great closing track. Again, Dethalbum III doesn't feature their top of the top songs, but it does feature a few of their best songs, a couple of excellent songs. And again, that one is just marginally better than Dethalbum II. It's by no means a schlecking blammo, but it's still pretty awesome. So just to recap all of that, least favorite to most favorite is Dethalbum I, Dethalbum II, Dethalbum III. Did you keep up? Yep. I think they got marginally better with each release, and as the show progressed, yes, it got a little less campy, and maybe even with like the TV show, you could say the first couple seasons were better, but I think if you really care about the lore and like the story building behind this show, you just enjoy the whole fucking experience. Like, I love what goes on. I love that you learn about how the manager is and what a big role he plays and just like how the band was formed and everything, and just how unserious you should take this show. It's just so fucking awesome. I love Metalocalypse. My top 10 songs are Comet Song, Laser Cannon Death Sentence, I Ejaculate Fire, Crush the Industry, Fan Song, Sky Hunter, Kill Stardo, Abominate, Thunder Horse, The Gears, and Burn the Earth. So thank you guys for watching my probably shortest ranked and reviewed. I might do 2 other bands that only have 3 albums. I have them on my list. They are Still Remains and It Dies Today, 2 like mid-2000s metalcore bands that only have 3 albums, and probably might never put out another album again. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. But it makes these little shorter episodes more fun, so be sure to comment what you agree with, what you disagree with. What would you change about your ranking? What's your favorite Dethklok episode? What's your favorite Metalocalypse or Dethklok song, riff? Who's your favorite fucking band member? I always related to Squishka, diamond-studded dildo. But fucking Murderface is probably my favorite character, actually. But anyway, let me know. Comment, subscribe, check out the other videos on here. I've done other melodic death metal bands, Black Dahlia Murder. There's more coming up. Thanks for watching.